morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told out of Voice of Radio. So today, we need to take a little bit of a look at a new Suicune card. Now, our translation here comes from the lovely Antoine Boulet and the lovely Joe from Cerebi.net. And I can't remember if I called out Joe as the translator for Manectric in our previous video, but if I forgot to do so, I apologise. Let me do so now. Now, today we're going to be talking about a new Suicune card, and as a person who is currently running through Pokemon Heart Gold and having a wonderful time, Suicune is a Pokemon that's kind of caught my attention. The question is, has this new card caught my attention? Is it any good, or are we all going home just a little bit disappointed? Well, let's take a little bit of a look-see, shall we? Now, starting off with the basics here, we can see that we've got 120 HP, and I say this quite a lot, there are a bunch of Pokemon that naturally hit 120 damage. We'd much rather have 130, but we don't have 130, so I suppose we can either cry about it or we can get on with our lives. Still makes me a little bit sad, though. We've got a retreat cost of 1, which is nice because it means we've got access to U-turn board for free retreat. And we've got a weakness to lightning, which... See, here's the thing, right? There are a bunch of good lightning Pokemon around. Pikachu and Zekrom, Tapu Koko V, Boltund. But they're going to be getting one-hit KOs on you anyway. The biggest issue pre-rotation with a lightning weakness is Electro Power. So you can find some random lightning Pokemon that's doing 30 damage with one Electro Power, they're now doing 60 damage with weakness, and now doing 120 damage. And all of a sudden, your 120 HP Pokemon is going down to a 30 damage attack. But Electro Power is being lost to the rotation. So I don't think it's such a big deal. I don't think it's lovely having a lightning weakness at the moment. But if you look at the kind of lightning Pokemon people are playing, honestly, I don't know that it's terribly bad having a weakness because they're going to be KOing you whether you're weak or not. I don't think that's an advantage. Being a water Pokemon, however, very much is an advantage. It means that you're hitting weakness on all of those Welder decks, and now they used to be Reshiram and Charizard. Nowadays, we see Welder Box coming around. We've got everything like Victini and Ninetales, and frankly, ladies and gentlemen, there are lots of very, very good fire Pokemon around at the moment. They're all being played with Welder, which will survive the rotation, and you're going to be hitting weakness on all of them. That's awesome. Plus, of course, you can accelerate energy with Frostmoth, which is always a nice thing if that's what you're into. But we should probably say what it does, shouldn't we? Well, starting off, 1 water energy, 20 damage, no. Now, I have kind of liked attacks like this in the past, but it's when we had Choice Band. We had Choice Band, and we had a whole bunch of Pokemon around like Turtonator, for instance. Turtonator is a Pokemon that gives up 2 prizes and has less than 200 HP. So we would see stuff like Tapu Fini GX, for instance. That again, single energy, 20 damage, although the fact that it could flick to the bench also really helped. And what you would do is you would put 1 energy on there with a Choice Band, and you would hit 100 damage because of the weakness, and all of a sudden for a single energy on a basic Pokemon, you're getting a 2-hit KO on a 2-prize Pokemon. You're essentially, pro rata at least, taking 1 prize per attack. And then I go, yeah, cool. No, that's awesome. Let's do this. But that's not the case here. We got Vitality Band. Ooh, 60 damage with weakness. That's not even going to get a score, bunny. It's not even going to get a score, bunny. And that's kind of my point here. Because, okay, there are 60 HP score bunnies, but no one's playing the 60 HP score bunny, all right? Everybody's playing the one from the set that's got 70 HP. So we end up in this really awkward situation where you're not hitting numbers. Okay, it's a basic Pokemon and it's a single energy attack. You know by now, if you watched a few of my videos, they're the kind of attacks I like. But the amount of damage you're doing here is so gosh darned weak that it's not worth it, ladies and gentlemen. But the good news is there is a second attack, and that's the reason Suicune gets its own video. 2 water energy, 1 colorless energy, 130 damage. Return 2 water energies from this Pokemon back to your hand. Yes. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I think this will do very, very nicely indeed. I mean, the obvious answer here very simply is, if you're putting this energy back into your hand, you're not losing it if this Pokemon gets KO'd. Your opponent takes down Suicune, you haven't lost that energy. Yeah, you've given up a prize, but you've lost 1 energy rather than 3. That's good. It reminds me very much of the Articuno from Team Up, that had obviously another, well, in the TCG, Water-type legendary Pokemon. As long as this Pokemon is your active Pokemon, whenever your opponent plays a supporter card, you prevent all effects of it done to your water Pokemon. That doesn't remind me of Suicune, but it's cool, so it's worth repeating. 2 water energy, 70 damage, and you move 2 water energy from this Pokemon to one of your bench. So again, you sit there kind of picking away, doing a bit of damage, but if Articuno goes down, you've still got the energy. Well, the good news is, ladies and gentlemen, this works very nicely indeed. And it is largely because of Frostmoth. Without Frostmoth, I'm not sure how much I would like this. Now, Frostmoth is the one that lets you attach water energy from your hand to your bench water Pokemon as often as you like during your turn. Now, don't get me wrong, it is only to bench Pokemon and it's only to water Pokemon, blah, blah, blah. No, it's not perfect. But it ain't too bad, ladies and gentlemen. It ain't too bad. It's a little bit of a shame Quagsire is rotating out, because Quagsire, of course, is a water Pokemon that lets you move water Pokemon to your active. So one option you've got pre-rotation, which is unfortunately going away post-rotation, is use Frostmoth to accelerate energy onto Quagsire, and then immediately move it to your active, whether it's a water Pokemon or not. So you are essentially attaching, I mean you're not, but you're essentially attaching to your active Pokemon in any way that it matters. Cool. But yeah, we're losing it to the rotation, and that's a little bit sad, boo, hiss, etc. My point here is very simple. You hit 130, and then you move the energy back to your hand, and then you reattach it next turn however you like, and then you roll. And you keep going with this. And that's the point of Suicune. You sit there doing a really quite nice amount of damage, turn after turn after turn, until your opponent takes Suicune down, at which point you've only lost 1 energy, and you're ready to go with some others, and that's kind of awesome. Now, this is an example. At the beginning of the video, I told you that there's a big difference between 120 and 130, and I'd rather have 130 HP. This does 130 damage. So pre-rotation stuff like Buzzwole that would otherwise be thwarting you will go down very, very nicely here. This is good. I love doing 130. Now, hitting for weakness is an odd one. You'll get stuff like Victini and you'll get stuff like Ninetales. You will actually be 10 damage short of Reshiram and Charizard, but there is that aforementioned Vitality band. A lot of people are playing Galarian Zigzagoon to drop a random damage counter here and there at the moment. So I don't mind this. I don't mind it at all. I would rather be doing 140 for the weakness, but you know what? We're doing all right. There are some particularly beefy Pokemon, I'm looking at you, Cinderace VMAX, where you will just plain be out of luck. It's sad, but Cinderace VMAX is, it's out of your wheelhouse, ladies and gentlemen. Cinderace V, yes. Cinderace VMAX, no, you're not getting a KO on that. Bearing in mind, when you hit it, it then does that much damage, plus a little bit more next turn. Hitting it for 260, 280 with a Vitality band might not be the greatest idea until you're actually ready to get a KO. But then again, hopefully, you're going to be able to get a KO on a Cinderace V instead, and it's not going to really matter. This is not some kind of gigantic, phenomenal, powerhouse, unstoppable Pokemon, and I'm not going to pretend for a second that it is. What this is a very efficient Pokemon to buy yourself some time, get some damage on the board, and really not give up very much. You get free energy on a basic Pokemon, you lose a single one of them when it goes down, and that's it. That's all you lose. So you sit there in the active, you rock for a bit, rock for a bit, rock for a bit, it goes down, and I've got a bunch of damage on the field without really losing very much at all in terms of resources. I like it. It's exactly the kind of Pokemon that I want to keep in my binder just in case I ever feel the need to put it into a deck. And for that reason, I'm giving it 3 Wossies. It is not a Pokemon around which you're going to build a deck, and it is not the next great Pokemon TCG deck. What it is a really nice card to help you out in the early game, the mid game, even the late game. Anytime you need to buy yourself a little bit of time, Suicune's there for you, ladies and gentlemen. And it's really not asking very much at all. But now, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to know what you think about all of this. I would like to know your opinion on Suicune and whether you think it's worth having a play. So let me know in the comment section. Go nuts! Me nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at the Wossie, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. And please do make sure you're checking out youtube.com/WossiePlays, where you can find out about a whole bunch of games that don't have Pokemon in, but are pretty gosh darned awesome nonetheless. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.